Season 22 has arrived in Destiny 2, and in today's video I'm going to give you my first impressions and my overall review after playing it for a whole one day. It doesn't take too long to get a grasp of what this season is going to feel like and whether or not it's good, so I know that a lot of people enjoy these videos because they want to make their decision based on whether or not it's going to be worth it for them to spend their money in Destiny 2 to buy this season. So let's jump into it. First up, we have a new activity. In fact, there's two different variations of it, and within those new activities there's a few different variations where you have like an arc, solar, or void orb, and on the other side you have multiple different bosses that you engage with. The new activity is actually really sick, much more dynamic than previous activities. Bungie obviously is responding to the previous backlash of their seasonal model feeling very copy and paste, and now they've updated it with this new activity, and along with it they have a new card system, which seems pretty cool. It's a little more mysterious. You can pick up these cards by finding certain locations in the game or by completing the activity itself and opening the chest. Overall, the new activity and the new seasonal story are S tier this season. We have Eris Morn literally turning into a hive god themselves with Xivu Arath and all this stuff going on. Seems much more compelling and much more interesting than previous seasonal stories we've had. And that's all the good side from the seasonal story. The downside is the loot. The weapons and armor don't necessarily seem all that appealing in terms of the power of the armor or the power of the weapons. This is obviously an issue that's going to happen over the course of years of time when we have more and more powerful weapons each and every season. You know, each season we get a new hand cannon, a new SMG, and it's a little bit more powerful than the previous season, and that multiplied by years equals power creep, and we're kind of feeling a little bit of that to some degree here, where there's a ton of new ritual weapons that have come with the new season, and none of them are all that appealing because there's just better versions of them currently already in the game. A good example is the new Void 180 RPM Scout Rifle is here, and while it does have some decent perks for a Void Scout Rifle, the Doom of Chelchis you get from King's Fall is a Void 180 RPM with double damage perks. It outclasses the new Scout Rifle in every way possible. There's no reason to grind for the new Void Scout Rifle because the Doom of Chelchis exists. If the Doom of Chelchis didn't exist though, then the new Void Scout Rifle could actually be really sick. However, if you imply that, then you're basically saying that you want sunsetting to return to Destiny 2, which is a problem. So then we end up in this never-ending cycle of we need to sunset things so that way new things are more appealing, or we need to nerf current things so that way new things are more appealing. I don't know what the end solution is going to be for all of this, but it definitely hurts to have a really cool new activity and the loot doesn't match how cool the new activity is overall. In fact, if we look through not just those ritual weapons, we look through all the new weapons, there's really only a handful of them that have some significant improvements from previous weapons in previous seasons or years in Destiny 2. And those weapons are the Showrunner Kinetic SMG is pretty good, the Unending Tempest Stasis Kinetic SMG is also pretty good, and the Cataphract Grenade Launcher from Trials looks really good actually. But those weapons aside, technically for all the other weapons, there's kind of better versions of them out there, which makes it very hard for veteran players or people that play the game regularly to get excited for the new loot. But some new loot that everyone can always get excited for is of course exotic weapons and exotic armor. So far we've gotten two new exotic weapons. We have the new exotic fusion rifle that you can get if you pre-order the final shape. This thing is definitely spicy. It's fun, it's unique. I wouldn't quite say it's overpowered, but it's definitely a strong fusion. I did a short review of it and definitely enjoyed using it. And along with that, we have the exotic grenade launcher that basically turns you into a Hive Boomer Knight. Super fun, decently practical. Both exotic weapons from this season are, I would rank them as A tier and fun to have. Although technically I should say that the fusion rifle isn't from this season, that's just from pre-ordering final shape. Now moving on to the exotic armor pieces, we have three exotic gauntlets, one for the Titan, one for the Hunter, and one for the Warlock. I've reviewed all three of these in separate videos. The Titan one is really cool. It's going to buff your solar super. It's going to make your super basically work like a missile Titan does right now, where you can pop your super and then get back into damaging the boss with rockets to optimize your DPS. And actually it's an exotic that I think a lot of Titans will end up using, especially when they're doing the new raid Crota, because it just has excellent application and it's fun to use the new thing. And it's nice when the new thing is either meta or near meta, and that's where the new exotic gauntlet for the Titan is at. For the Warlock, you get crazy void souls. You can go and pick it up endlessly. This is going to feed your rift. This is going to debuff enemies. This is going to feed your devour. A very, very strong exotic gauntlet for the Warlocks. And for the Hunters, it's a little bit more of a fun exotic. I wouldn't necessarily say it's OP, but the new exotic gauntlets for the Hunter make you a moth go out that damages an enemy and blinds them, and then also another moth that will go out and give an overshield to one of your teammates. So the new exotic armor is definitely up there and definitely fun for this season, and the weapons as well. As far as other quality of life changes, of course Bungie is always implementing little small changes, tweaks and adjustments to weapons and to the meta. As far as it stands right now, I don't really see anything standing out and being especially weak or especially strong in PvP or PvE. We did get a stealth nerf to Gjallarhorn. I'm sure Bungie will be addressing that soon. And we did get a massive buff to hand cannons, and hand cannons are crazy in PvE right now. Malfeasance being absolutely bugged at this point in time. I'm sure it will get adjusted soon because literally Malfeasance is like the strongest weapon in the game right now. So those are the typical quality of life things that we see within any given season. And the last bit of criteria to judge this season, I guess, would technically be the raid. Now, obviously this isn't a part of the season pass, and the raid is going to be Crota's End, and will it be good? I'm not entirely sure. I feel like Bungie has a really good opportunity here to rework a lot of the different mechanics because Crota does have a ton of nostalgia and does have a lot of potential to be a very good raid in Destiny 2. Hopefully they nail it with this one, but only time will tell. My overall rating for this season is I'm going to give it about a 7 out of 10 because the weapons aren't as appealing. If the weapons were better, I would actually give this rating a 9 out of 10 for this season, especially when comparing it to previous seasons that have fallen so short in the past. This season definitely stands out as an improvement. Story-wise, lore-wise, the activity, the exotics, everything is pretty solid with this season. I'm looking forward to playing week to week. Let me know if you agree or disagree down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button, and click on the screen here to watch another video from the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Later.